going to start getting everything back into gear, and that's all to the good.
Peter, love the optimism as always. I want to bring Sandra into the conversation, but quickly I want to ask you, that's all good news that you're highlighting. But last night at this Fox News town hall, of course, the president revised the death estimate upward to somewhere around 100,000 people. That obviously gets people wondering why he's saying, concerned about where we're headed. At the same time that there's this good news happening, that we're reopening parts of the economy. So my question really is, how do you square that we're revising the death estimate upwards, even as we're trying to get things going?
Yeah, the original death estimate was about 2 million Americans dying in the absence of any kind of mitigation or containment. And the president took the very tough choice of entering into a mitigation phase and a containment phase. It was a manufactured recession that we faced, and the estimates would basically take that down to 100 to 200,000 deaths. And that is a number that's still out there. We know what the numbers are today. We're just moving through time. We're trying to simultaneously protect the American people from the effects of the China virus killing them directly, but it's also true that the lockdown indirectly kills Americans through the economic effects with higher suicide rates, depression, alcoholism, drug addiction, and all that. So what the president's been trying to do is thread that needle, and it's the most difficult decision that a president's ever had to make. And Sandra, this is where we are in the situation. But today, yes, I think it's important to have a little bit of optimism here on a spring day as we try to get back to work.
I want to move on to what happens next with China, but that was obviously a standout headline, was the revision to the death toll in the United States. Also was the president saying that he believes that there could be a vaccine by the end of the year. Are you working off of that expectation, Peter, when you are planning trade, looking at the economy, still digging in for more PPE? Are you working off the assumption that there will be a vaccine by end of year?
A couple of things. My mission here at the White House during this crisis has simply been to make sure that the American people have the personal protective equipment they need, as well as to set in motion all the things we need to make sure they have the medicines as well. So that's where my focus has been on. With respect to the vaccine development, the traditional medicine community historically has said it takes 2 to 3 years to develop a vaccine. If you go back and look at a clip of me several months ago, I said we could do it faster in Trump time. I believe that's true. If you look at, for example, the Smithfield factory in Rhode Island, that should have taken 9 months. We did it in 5 weeks. If you look at the GM Ventec ventilator factory that I visited with the vice president on Wednesday, we stood that up in 17 days. So I do think that with a horse race going on now for the vaccine, with I think it's 4 or 5 different firms, we'll certainly see where we are at. What's important, Sandra, is that as we're doing the science and the clinical trials, that we also have the production necessary, so we have the pipettes and the needles and everything, should we be able to administer a vaccine.
All right, what does this mean for China? We talked to Maria